Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book 91. We're here talking about Put a Ring on It, Season 1, Episode 6. If I'm correct. Episode 6, right? Episode 6, yeah. I have to think about it because, so many episodes in my head now. But episode 6. So, guys, as always, I am joined by two lovely, honorable guests. I'm here with Sophie and Raquel. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as always and then tell you how to find them. And then we're going to get into some real juicy conversation about the episode 6. If I go Sophie first and then let Raquel introduce herself after.
Sure, my name is Sophie Hannah. As my handle says, I am Sophie Hannah. I'm a content creator and I'm on a show that airs weekly on YouTube called Ethnically Speaking. So make sure you check that out. But you can also find me creating my own content at I am Sophie Hannah on YouTube. I am Sophie Hannah on Instagram. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share, like all the things that you can possibly do. I'm trying to get 10 more subscribers by the end of the year to hit 200. So it'd be really great to have your support. And the same on Instagram, trying to hit my 1,000 followers total. So yeah, thank you.
Hi guys, my name's Raquel. I am on YouTube producing lifestyle and natural hair content. I also have a podcast on parenting called Mama Drama Pod. You can find me at Rax Real on YouTube, Instagram, and it's Mama Drama Pod on the streaming platforms and YouTube too.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Thank you very much, ladies. So obviously episode 6 was quite lively. All right, it was very lively. All right. I think we'll start strong as always, I think I want to start with Michael, because
the
brother's on the third date.
Oh no! About to go on the fourth.
What did you ladies think about that?
It's a bit much for me. If I was Shay, it would have crossed the line by now for me. Because the one date here and there with people like trying to figure out how you're feeling, fair enough. But 3 dates, 3 romantic dates, feeding each other stuff, wanting to go on a fourth. I think they've crossed the line now. I do. Was it Hollywood said that's like a relationship after a certain amount of dates, it's the relationship. Definitely entering that territory, even if they don't have each other's phone numbers.
Do you know what? I was really surprised when they spoke to Dr. Patricia and he said he wanted to go on the 4th date. Like, I was genuinely surprised because Whitney, was her name Whitney? She is now getting to the point where she's saying, I want more, and this isn't working for me. So I thought that was going to be the ding, 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 ding in his head. Like, actually, I want to stick with my woman. Let me not continue. Like, this is obviously going further. But he was like, I feel like I still need to explore. Explore what? Like, I'm not really sure where we think this is going. Because, like, he's very attracted to her. And she seems like a cool woman. She says that she's happy to look after someone's child. I just feel, how many times can you go on a date with someone that you're attracted to, that you vibe with, before you're gonna fall for them? And I mean, even if you're in a relationship, like, let's be very clear. Like, as much as I feel like I'm not gonna cheat, how many dates am I gonna go on before I'm just like, brother's looking kind of nice?
Answer your own question. Yeah, answer your question then. How many days will it take?
You answer the question, Kojo. You answer the question.
I feel like they're in that territory now where they say falling and catching feelings. I think they're there. I think they got there after like day 2.
I think if I'm honest, I personally wouldn't have been on a second date. I wouldn't even go on the first date. I think that's the premise. I get the premise of the show. I just think if that's real world, if that's the real life, this couldn't run. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then, because like you said, I think one of the things that happens in relationships is that we do develop connections with people over a period of time. So if I have key experiences with you, I'm going to bond with you. I don't necessarily need to spend all my days with you, but I'm spending enough time and quality time where I'm letting you in emotionally, because he's telling her all the problems. Yeah. He's telling her all the problems. And when us boys were younger, we used to call it jailbreaking, which is that when you get a girl to tell you the information of her relationship, you are beginning to jailbreak the relationship. I'm just going to be honest with you. Y'all didn't know that? Okay, y'all didn't know that. You didn't know that. There's jailbreaking a relationship, yeah? And so when you let me in, if I've got bad intentions, you've opened the door for me to walk in and break everything in there. Do you understand?
And I think,
go on, yeah.
I was going to say, and with that as well, let's be honest. every guy I know who tried that jailbreaking tactic, when she tells you what's going wrong in her relationship, it basically gives you the guidebook for what you need to do to get her. Oh, he doesn't pay me enough attention. Okay, let me just call you every day and send a text. He never buys me nothing. Oh, it's your birthday. Let me send that thing. So as he's telling Whitney, I really want her to be this. She's just like, I love children. Exactly. So,
but also, how much is he respecting his current relationship with Shay if he's just freeing it out so easily to this lady he's dating? Like, where's the respect? I understand he wants to vent, but could he be venting to this girl in this way? We clearly know he's troubled and needs someone to talk to, but talking to the new potential lady about the problems with the existing lady is not it.
Exactly. And it seems like Whitney has awakened his emotional side. Michael's all being honest now and sharing his feelings. This is getting very touchy ground for me.
So if you were Shay, would you be starting to get concerned?
Absolutely. From the second date, I'd be concerned. From the second date, like, who else has gone on a repeated date with somebody over and over again? Is that the only person that's been on multiple? Yeah, I'd be nervous and concerned. But I guess she's playing it cool. She's giving him the space.
Do relationships need that? Do relationships need that kind of space? I'm just going to be honest, like throwing it out there. Do relationships need that kind of space where you allow someone to maybe, go out and, maybe be free a little bit, free pass, as they say,
Yeah, it's called a breakup. That's what a breakup. That's and then you can have all the space in the world and you can date all the women you want. Exactly. When we do that, when we break, that's the time. Because right now, let's look. We've all been on dates here. Do you need to go on a fourth date to know whether there's something there? Trust me, you can tell from date number 1. I've been on a date, you're just like, this ain't going nowhere. So what is he trying to work out from date number 4? Like, I don't understand. He's like, we just need more time alone. I need to figure.
Yeah, that's just it. And I feel like Shay is just giving him room to be taken from her. Obviously, you can't. They say you can't keep a man as long as you can. But open the gates for this woman to just pick.
Yeah.
What do you think the key differences between Whitney and Shay are then? What do you think that Michael was seeing? If we're putting ourselves in his shoes, what do you think he is seeing in Whitney that maybe Shay hasn't got, or maybe he's seeing similarities? I don't know.
I think he sees some similarities. Like, they both seem quite strong and feisty. Like they both seem like women that are gonna speak their mind and try and keep him in check. But I think the danger is, like, if you've been in a relationship with someone for a while and you go on a few dates, that person is always going to seem new and exciting because like, you don't have all those experiences, or maybe the day-to-day life that you're living with your partner in your house together. And this person is, I see them every once in a while, and every time I see them, they're looking like a number 10, and like, it's so free and easy, and the conversation's flowing, and I'm not happy that she feels like that 20% that I'm not getting from that one, and then that 20% is looking quite big right now because I'm not getting it. And I think all these things are coming in. So I think that's what Michael's looking at. But I don't know if I don't believe the grass is greener. I think Michael wants to be in a committed relationship. I definitely do. I don't get the vibe that he wants to play the field, but the things that Shay is lacking on is leaving a very big window for someone else to just kind of jump in.
I think with Whitney, she seems more attentive. That could be because she's dating and she's heard about his groans, but she seems a lot more attentive to how he's feeling, what's going on. Whereas with Shay, it's just like me, put a ring on it. It's me, it's not your son. And then, of course, Whitney straight up saying, I'd love to be a stepmother. Like, I would look after your child.
I hear that. And even on their date was quite interesting because obviously, she actually put a bit of pressure on him. Women have a way of being able to put pressure on you that is, you almost don't see it. It's just like a slight of pressure on your neck. I'm not saying a bad way, in a good way. She was saying she was trying to put pressure on him. She's trying to put pressure on him to make a decision.
She's putting a standard there for him. and
Well,
he
yeah,
needs
that's
to.
standard, yeah, but it was pressure. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I want her to do it. I think everybody should do it.
Because what will we get to? Go 10?
Exactly. And exactly.
Well, that's what you're saying. Is we're on date number 3. We would be, the pressure was we're on date number 3. We would have been further along if we could communicate. That for me was pressure upon neck, and I was saying that's good.
Was it only me who felt that she meant sex?
Is it? Why did you think that?
I did. Like, that's
You're
what
brave, boy. Why?
honestly, when she said we would have been, further along, I'm just like, further along where?
Okay, fair enough.
Where? How? Like, I was kind of confused by that. But I think for Michael, I think he's selling himself short a little bit. Because something that he said to Whitney was that, I'm not expecting her or any woman to be like, this great stepmother to my son. I'm just like, why? Why aren't you?
It's because of Shay. I think she's probably affected his expectations. So he's lowered them to accommodate her. And he probably thinks, well, am I asking too much of a woman to want to completely accept my child? So he could be a bit fractured from his interaction. That happens when people go into relationships. Someone can make you feel insecure. They can criticize how you look, the size of your assets, to the point where you're thinking, oh, well, am I asking for too much? So yeah, I agree. It's sad.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, he's obviously enjoying the company of Whitney. She's a spice, good looking laugh. You know what I'm saying? And he's enjoying the spoils of the attention that he's getting. I think what he's doing is that he knows he's never going to leave Shay. I just don't see him leaving Shay. Yeah, he's not going to leave her. The risk of him jumping to Whitney is not worth it for him. He's enjoying what he's getting right now. I said this in the review. I said what he's doing is what a lot of guys do, which is they're entertaining because that fills my ego, and my ego, once it's supplied, I'm good. I do not need you to go any further. So, for instance, someone might think, why not go for a relationship with Whitney? Because it's not necessary. I have Shay for that. Why not go for sex? I don't need that. I got Shay for that. What I need now is an ego boost. What I need from you is for you to be attentive to my ego, make me feel nice. And once you're doing that job, I've actually got 2 of you doing a different job for me, and I'm supplied. I'm good. So long as he can balance the 2, he's winning. So he will go on a 4th date, a 5th date if he can, until Shay says the next date you go on, we're done. He will stop.
But you know what? I feel like both Shay and Michael are playing a very dangerous game because there seems to be this thing between them about who can make who jealous, and it's like I really like that. I really like that she's jealous, or I really like that he's jealous. Yeah, it makes me feel, and I'm just like, this is a very dangerous game because the end of that game is someone's eventually just going to move on with someone else. Like, it's not going to be jealous; they're actually just going to get with them. So. And the thing is, I don't disagree with you. I think very much that probably is what he's doing. It's making him feel nice. Like everyone likes to be liked. Let's be honest. Everyone likes to feel attractive, especially by someone who is attractive, who you're attracted to. Like, that's a very nice feeling. So I think he's just riding the wave in a place where he's allowed to do it because he knows in real life this would not run.
I was quite surprised when he became jealous of Shay going on her date. Because of how he himself. So I'm thinking, how dare you sit the guy down and lay down the law? And yeah, Shay absolutely loved it. But I was surprised that he was so jealous, considering he's going to be on date number 4 soon.
I still didn't believe it.
Did he? No,
he was acting.
That's what was acting. I'm not gonna lie. You might not tell me that, but I think it was acting. It was out of character completely.
Yeah,
for him to take the guy, sit down, and say, "Listen, let me lay down the law to you, bro." You've never done that, like, bro. Like, so all of that coming out of you. No.
Do you know what? I think it was someone who he thought. I think it was because it was someone who he thought she'd be attracted to. Because there's previous guys who've come on, like, and he was just like, she ain't gonna be attracted to him. Like, he's a little. And he was just like, see ya, have a good time. Like, he didn't feel threatened. I think seeing this guy, and the first thing he commented on was like, oh, she don't want no light skin dude. Like, you're too light. Yeah. I'm just like, are you feeling threatened? Is that why I'm saying that? Because light skinned boys get a lot of attention. Because it was so random. And like, Shay did not help with what she was wearing. Like, she was doing the most.
She was
the most.
She was looking. Talking about actually her date, she said some really interesting things. Now, she said obviously that she said she wouldn't. She said obviously that because of the way that Rick said it, she's willing to consider. It's a possibility that she could have children.
I kissed my teeth so long and hard at the screen when I saw that. I'm like, this woman is chatting some foolishness. Like,
why is it foolishness? Because you have people who are like, they have these standards or things that they say they would never do, but it's circumstantial. So you have the guy who will tell a girl, I don't want a relationship. A week later, he'll be in a relationship with somebody else. So it could be that she doesn't want to have children with Michael, but for someone else, the right guy, she might be willing to do it.
So that's a talking point. So what do we do then? Because I think that's what I saw.
What? No, guys, that's not what I saw. Like, I couldn't understand it because she wants to be with Michael. Like, if I don't doubt it. And if it's the case that she would really consider having Rick's children, then obviously she's just with Michael because she feels like that's her best chance to get a ring. Because I'm like, how can this man that you're living with for 2 years, who you ghosted and came back to like 3 times, not be the man you want to have children with? But you've had one date with Pretty Ricky, and now you're out here talking about, I want to have his children. It don't make no sense.
She said the way that he spoke about it inspired her. So I don't know. Maybe he's got a way of words. What do you think? I mean,
he dropped something in a drink. Ain't no one date with no one convincing me that I need to have your children.
I also, saying that, I also did see another point, which was that maybe she genuinely, what she said is true. And the problem here was that Michael has never enforced the family situation. Whereas this guy told her straight from the beginning, listen, I need you to have some kids. Like, they know there's no running elsewhere. Like, that is my lane. You gonna run with it or not? And I don't know if Michael has instituted that particular line of thought with her, because remember, she started off in the relationship as, I don't want kids. And you've kind of pulled her slightly away from that, where she's like, okay, you can have them for the summer, whatever. So maybe what she was saying in a sense is that Michael has never laid the law down like that in that area and family, and this guy is, and that's attractive to her. So she's willing to consider. She didn't say she's going to do it. She said she's willing to consider. Maybe that's also another side of things. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't laid the law down for the family aspect. I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I think the way that he went on with Whitney, in terms of saying about the whole stepmother thing, I'm not expecting, I just want someone who's just kind of happy to have my son around, lets me know that he probably hasn't been as forceful with Shay as well. And maybe in his mind, he feels like I'm asking a lot for a woman to accept a child that's not her own. I don't feel no way about asking no man that, because the amount of time that happens all the time, like man having I'm just like, so for me, I'm just like, you used to stand up, put on your big boy drawers and just say, I expect this. This is the minimum that I expect. And if you don't want to give it to me, you need to bounce.
Why is it hard for people to express their expectations?
I think he might be scared. He might be scared of losing her or applying so much pressure that she runs away. And maybe, as I said, he might think less of himself because he's got baggage. His son, I don't know, to her, it's baggage. So he thinks he needs to be modest in his request. Whereas the other guy might just feel a bit more free. Like, this is what I want. I'm not asking you to accept anything else. This is for us. And also, she could be more receptive if it's his first child too, because some women or guys say they want to have that experience with someone. They don't want to be with someone who's had it with someone else before them. So it's fresh and new for both of them.
Oh, do people really say that?
I've heard it. Yeah.
That's what.
About I don't want to have the experience of the first time having a child with anyone. Like, I want us to both have our first child together. I don't want you to have the child experience and then me have it now with your second child. It won't be the same.
Yeah, we guys say that. Yeah, we do.
What is it with men and women who have had children with other people? Like, I don't understand.
It's the idea. It's the idea of starting, because when you start with somebody, you're both starting at the same block. But if you've already have a child, you're already ahead of me. So I'm having not even catch up, but now I'm being added into a picture. We haven't created a picture. I'm being added into a picture. Do you know what I mean? Like, so then that means there's obviously, we all have our own preconceived notions and ideologies, and we all have our own thoughts that we think it's going to be a certain way. So it becomes difficult for a lot of guys because guys are perfectionists. If they're honest with yourself, they want the girl that is a virgin but not a virgin. They want the girl that is pristine but not pristine to everybody. It's like, yo, you want paradoxical things. Like that's how us guys are because we're in an idealistic thought process oftentimes. So when it comes to dealing with someone who's got a child, we have a lot of ideology and idealistic thoughts in that area as well. So and let me spit some game for y'all. So one of the things that also is that I have to bring out the dark materials for you guys. So we're talking so as well because and the thing is that because a lot of guys are not, sometimes guys are not on relationships, they're on just getting you to bed. What happens is certain guys are looking for, we call it vulnerabilities. You have to find a chink in the armor. I'm just breaking the game to you. Listen, see, her eyes went wide. I'm telling you, this is what happens. So if you've got a child, you've become vulnerable because now the person who you're not in a relationship with is not there. We know you have an ideology of wanting a perfect family or you wanting the guy to be there. You have a longing and a desire. That longing desire, when it's emitted outwardly, we take it, we turn it, we say, okay, that's what she wants. I'll play the role for a little bit. Like I'm interested in something. Once I've got you into bed, I'm done. But we exposed the chink in the armor by going after the desire. And this is how sometimes men think because they think like sharks. They just want to find the weakness and go for it. I don't know if you like. It's a bit dark.
I've seen men who typically only want to date single mothers, and I've seen those single mothers are quite lonely that they just want to love in. So they're very vulnerable, and the sharks go for it as you've described. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't.
But anyway,
we live in a patriarchal society that caters to men anyway. So
this is true. Yeah. I just wanted to throw that game out for you guys. So be careful. There's some guys out here it's crazy. But anyway, predators that's a key word right there. So obviously, moving on from Michael and Shay, we had Ashley and Hollywood. I think it was interesting because obviously Ashley went on her date, Hollywood went on his date, even though he didn't really want to go on a date. And I think they had two different types of dates there. Ashley looked very happy. What would you guys think?
She did. She was lovely, but to me, I feel like she was like that last week. It seems like she
That's
loved
true.
I get the impression that he's old dude, he's old, and she's just down. She's down for a good time because last week and this week, when she goes out, she's just glowing. Like she's so happy to be around these men that I think she's ready to step soon.
I just think it's so funny. Like Ashley is just taking full advantage of this experience. Like, she's just like, I felt things with him that I haven't even felt with Hollywood. I'm just like, girl, like seriously. So I think that she's very open, and I feel like Hollywood is the most together guy on there, if I'm being honest. I really do. I think he really has turned the corner from the madness that he was doing, but it might be a little bit too late because she is acting like, actually, my options are open. And with her saying that she's willing to go on a second date, the first time she said that all series, like Hollywood, it messed him up. And I think it touched my heart. Like he was so sweet because obviously he had come to this place in his mind where we're going to go on dates, but we're always going to say no. So we'll go on the date, chat about it, but we've got this little code that no one's going to go on the second. Because when she said it, for him, it was just like, it wasn't even, he didn't even think it could ever happen. It wasn't even a possibility to him.
That is a true point. And obviously, and I guess obviously this format of the show allows you to get away with going on a date without there being actual problems. But he did say, if one should go on a second date, it's like cheating. What did you guys think about that?
I felt him. I do. I feel him because it's more than just having a one-off experience with someone. You're seeking, you're now pursuing, you're looking for trouble, you're looking to have greater experiences, you're creating opportunity for feelings to grow. So when he said that, I felt it. I did.
Do you know what? I don't feel that way. I feel
because with Michael, you're like, it's too many. So
it's true.
He said, when I got to 3, it was too much, but 2 is fine.
I feel like 2. I'm okay in this scenario, like not in real life. In this scenario, I think it's okay because these are people who are trying to decide: do I want to spend the rest of my life with you or not? So if you're feeling that there might be something there with someone else, I think that the second date, you should go and explore that, because marriage is for life. So you don't want to get to the point where they're settling down because they're kind of like, well, this is the best there is. So if they're getting this chance to explore, I'm all for Ashley going on date number 2 and seeing if it's something there. For Michael now, like 3 and 4, I'm just like, there is something there. You should not be getting married because you're way too open. So that's where I am. But it is confusing.
If after date 2 and she wants a date 3, would you be saying the same thing? Like she should explore, or are you telling her she needs to leave Hollywood alone now?
After date number 3, I think now you're wanting to feed the connection. I'm like, you're entertaining that this could be something that you want to do long term. I think date number 2, we're still having a good time. I'm just testing them waters. Yeah, man.
She shifted the pole completely.
Look, Ashley has been out here turning down men left, right, and center. And even though she said this was her strongest connection, she's been attracted to a lot of them. She's had good dates with with pretty much all of them. She's enjoyed herself. So with this one, I trust Ashley that if she feels like it needs a second date, it needs a second date, because there were other people who I thought she was going to have a second date with, and she always turned them down. So I don't think she's made this step lightheartedly.
Is she doing that because she's become more confident though? Now she's done 2 or 3 dates. She's like, well, I've done 1 or 2, 3 guys as well, and this one I'm going to be brave and actually go for it. Go for a second date.
Yeah, and she sees everyone else doing it. Michael's on number 3, so she might be like, maybe she really does like him. But I'm surprised, Sophie. I'm surprised.
Me or Ashley?
Once you pass the 1, that to me shows intrigue. Like it shows that you want to go.
I mean, Kwame was fun though. Kwame had something different about him than I think the other guys didn't. There was genuine banter that was like, when you get, I don't know how to describe it. There was that banter where he was just like she said, the energy was drawing her in. Like all the other guys were cool, good looking guys, the good chat and everything like that. But I didn't feel any of them had the banter that Kwame was bringing to her. My guy was falling over and making it banter, not corny banter, but making it kind of, what I'm saying? Like, you can laugh at me, but I'm gonna banter and joke with you. That kind of banter he brought to the table, and I think she never had that with anybody else. So, I mean, maybe she's just exploring because she's like, let me have a bit of fun before I lock it down with Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Let me de-stress a little bit. But I mean, that's dangerous because you could de-stress and find yourself somewhere you shouldn't be.
I agree, but the thing is that she likes his banter, but like she likes it because she likes it in Hollywood as well. She likes funny guys, and this is what's so interesting. Like the thing that's drawing her to him is the thing that her man already has. Because when Hollywood did that prayer with the 2 girls, I was dying. I'm just like, only he can get away with this. Talking about Lord, they're good and they're sexy, like. Only Hollywood's gonna get away with that. And she was laughing because she was like, I like he's funny, and she likes the same thing in this guy. So she'd be silly if she traded, because I'm just like, you're attracted to the same thing. Like it's the same thing.
And also as well, he earlier on in the season, she said she's quite competitive as well. And so if you listen to the conversation between her and Kwame, he was actually saying, listen, I can beat you at this. Like, so it's that little bit of that banter that he was bringing, the same thing that Hollywood has, which is that competitive spirit as well, where they compete with the gymming and stuff like that. He's eliciting the same energy, and it's like she's almost repeating the pattern of what she's left previous. I'm not saying that it's wrong to do that, because in this case, we don't know what Kwame is like, but it's like oftentimes we do these things where we repeat a pattern of choosing the same similar type of partner. When you say I ain't got a type, and then you look after your exes, you're like, okay, maybe I got a type. You see the same similarities. Why do you think people actually choose people that are similar to former partners and stuff?
I think you like what you like, and maybe the familiarity as well. If it worked before, it could work again. But I think the risk there is, though, so she said about Kwame, it reminds me of me in Hollywood in our early days. People think the grass is greener, but there's no telling it could die out with Kwame down the line too. She's searching, I want that new thing again. We don't know what the lifetime is or when it's going to expire, but people do it for familiarity. And as I said, you just like what you like. If you like a funny guy, you just like a funny guy.
I think, and on the flip side of that, though, I've been attracted to guys for certain qualities, but they were bad qualities. And then you end up still going for the same type of guy, not realizing the thing that's drawing you is that thing that is going to just make it a bad relationship. So I've been attracted to guys who just have a lot of charisma. Like literally they step in the room and like all the girls are drawn to them, and not even because they're necessarily the best looking guy, but they know how to talk to women. They know how to make jokes. They know how to light up the room, and everyone's just drawn to their energy. And I was just like, oh, I really love that. But I kept going for these guys, and then they're all turning out to be players. Like, there is a reason why they all know how to chat to women. Do you know what I mean? And they all have charisma, and they might not be the best looking guys, but it doesn't matter because they know they can chat. So sometimes I found myself in situations where I've had to sit down and be like, do you know what? Like the quality that I'm attracted to, like, they're not containing that just for one girl. I'm not the only person who's experiencing this feeling. Like they're doling this out. So I think that's the danger with having a type, because what it can do is keep you in patterns of behavior that are actually destructive.
Question from a guy to the ladies. You know, sometimes there's this myth that ladies, you know, kind of you guys are, before the relationship breaks, you guys already moved on. Because I was wondering this as the show is going. I'm thinking to myself, who is like, this is not even a good start. Because if you even go into dating somebody whilst you are still in a relationship with the person you're in right now, it's not a good foundation to start any relationship in the first place. But there is that little myth. I don't know if you guys can confirm it or break it for me, that ladies move on if they've mentally escaped the relationship, they're already gone out of the relationship. So potentially Ashley's actually not in a relationship with Hollywood already. She's already flown the nest. Is that true? Do ladies do that?
It looks that way to me, and I've heard it as well. So this is a scenario when the woman is terminating the relationship. So if a woman ends up finally drawing the line, she drew the line in her head a while ago, and I completely believe it. Some women do it that they take like a year or months. They've already switched off, or the love is like dwindling or dying, and then by the time there's nothing left, it's just like, see you later. So she could be there because to me she has seemed quite open and enjoying these dates. Whereas if you compare her to say Tamika, she's not ready to be done. She doesn't seem done at all compared to Ashley. So yeah, I think there's truth to that theory.
Do you know what? I think it's the other way round. I think it's guys who have already moved on if they're the ones who end the relationship. Because I found with guys, if they end the relationship, they are not going back. Like for love nor money. Like once they have broken up with you, in their head, they've already worked through the scenario of, do I want to be with them? Do I not? Blah, blah, blah. And you can be like, I think they're just like, it's over. It's over. Whereas when a woman ends it, honestly, and I've been one of these women, you like, did I make the right choice? You know, maybe I feel like maybe there was something there. Maybe I made a mistake. And I don't see guys doing that when they break up with girls. Like they will move and then you find out 2 months later they're loved up with someone else, because mentally they're like, it was over for me 3 months ago. Like I was
done, though. Those times when you said you were done, were you really done or were you done? And like, because women do a thing whereby we'll be like, oh, we're done, but maybe if you change, or you know, if you change, then maybe, oh, if only he could. Are you sure you want to? So sometimes women do the fake breakup, where it's a breakup, but it's like a standard or an ultimatum. It's like, well, I'm done, but if you do this, then we can just, you know, be together. So there's different levels to a woman being done.
Do you know what? That is true. That wasn't for me. Like I knew every time I've broken up with someone, I know in my spirit, like this isn't. If I've gotten to the point, it's because I'm like God has told me this is not going to run. You need to put an end to this. But then you get times when you remember the good times, and you're like, maybe it was workable. Like I know that when he's working, he can't really make time for me, but we had some really good times, and maybe it's okay that he can't make time for me and he's working. Like it's a good thing. He's not cheating on me. Like he's working, and then you talk yourself into something. And I've talked myself into something, gotten back with the person, and then in it like, no.
Okay, again.
I was right. This was not the one. Like this is not the one. But no, like I feel like if I end a relationship though, like 100%, I need to be ready that it's gonna just end. ultimatums and like, if I'm gonna, I don't think those work whatsoever. You just need, your word needs to be your bond. And I think I've said in my marriage, like I said to my husband, I will never say to you, I want to divorce you unless I mean it. Like, I'm not gonna throw that around like some cheap thing to hurt your feelings, because I'm like, once I've said that, that seeds in there that you feel like I'm not actually really committed. But because I said to him, so if I ever say that, if I ever say to you, like, I want a divorce, it's because I'm like, I've thought about it and now we've come to the end of this.
Boy, shout out to the husband.
No, you answer the part of his question almost, where you say the woman doesn't leave until she's made up.
Do you know what? Me, for sure. Yes, then yes. If it's me, yes. But I think men, I guess maybe it's the person who breaks up. Maybe the person who breaks up then is the person who is mentally already cut and like kind of moved on. But I think men are, I know plenty of men end it. It's not right. I'm sorry. It's not you. It's me. I'm not ready. 6 months later, our wifey, we're engaged. You know what I mean? You're just like, you've seen those guys talk about, and I wasn't ready for a child, but now she's pregnant. This is my queen. You're just like, what? Kojo, you know men out here tripping. Like, why can't a man just say, you're not the one?
Exactly.
It's just not you. I know it's hurtful, but you're just not the one for me. I don't want to be with you. Why do I gotta come with all these stuff and then we see you 2 months later hugged up with somebody?
Do you know what? Yeah, I've always said that, guys are very interesting because a lot of guys actually don't know what they need. So we're waiting to meet what we need. So when we met you, we was trying to see, is it going to work? We're trying to fit you into something. And then when the person met another girl, she just fitted. And it's not a good excuse. It's just saying that a lot of men actually don't know what they need. So they're actually experimenting. So it's almost like Adam in the garden, innit? He was looking for the help. He went through several different animals and realized none of these are fitting in. And then God had to say, listen, let me bring the helpmate. And when he got it, he said he realized, oh my God, this is the one. He said, wow, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. So I'm not saying
you saw how that ended.
You did. You saw how it ended. And you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know what you need, you are going to go through a cycle of women consistently. And a lot of guys are broken. So when you meet them, a lot of these guys are actually broken men. And so when now they meet another girl, they've learned through breaking other women. I'm going to be honest, they've broken other women. And it's like they've got to that 6th woman, 7th woman, whatever, and they finally learned it. They finally clocked it and got it. And unfortunately, it's just that she was there at the right time, right season, and she is now the right girl. He didn't change for her, He just learned. He's got to a point where he's learned and realized, okay, this is the girl that I need. So that girl didn't change anything. She just was there at the right time, right season. Because had she been there earlier, he would have done the same thing he did to that girl, to the other girls he dated previously. So a lot of guys are actually experimenting. And because society you said about patriarchy, right? A lot of guys, there's no punishment for a man cycling through 10, 15, 20 women. So he has the opportunity to experiment and get it wrong as much times as he wants. If you're a woman and you try to experiment and try to get it wrong, you will be labeled something unfortunate, right? You don't have the opportunity. You have to get it right the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. And if you get it wrong the 5th time, people are like, wait, hold a minute. What the hell's going on? Why? Do you know what I mean? But guys don't get that. So there is an unfair kind of society that we have where men are allowed to kind of be boys for a long time and they finally man up. So that's why you will see that the guy will say, oh, didn't work out between me and you, and then gets a girl and then goes, yeah, well, it's the one, innit? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, nah, bro, you were cycling chicks and you weren't being responsible. You didn't know what you needed. And so, yeah, that's why guys do that, unfortunately. So sad, guys. Please man up, all right? So Hollywood mentioned something which is really interesting. He said something in the very beginning of the show. He was talking about how he felt like his mum didn't really pay attention to him and give him the love that he really needed. I thought that was so unfortunate, and I guess it kind of opened up my eyes to see why. Because I always saw a little bit of his fearful of rejection. Like that's why he was fighting her in the beginning. It's like he doesn't want to be rejected, and I think that's why on his date also he did it twice now. He's done it with a girl that was doing a Jenga. He's done it with this woman. He actually asked them a question, which is, "So what do you think about me?" Like, he starts the day off like that. I'm like, bro, you just started the day off. How are you gonna start? What do you think about me, bro? We just got in. I don't know what I think about you. Like, do you think I'm gonna look at? But bro, relax. But I think it's to stop the person rejecting him through the course of the process. If I get it out first, at least I know where I stand with you. Then I don't get hurt as much. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather than put myself out there and then you rejecting the whole of me. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. How did you guys feel about when he said that about his mum's situation?
I felt really sad for him, and what you just described, he could just be needing validation. So if he grew up not having people, I've read that people say your love language can be something that you lacked as a child that you carry into adulthood, which you're constantly yearning for. So if he didn't get validation from his mum whatsoever, that could be what he wants in his relationships. And it's made me think now about when he called off his engagement the first time with Ashley. He could be scared of commitment in some respects, or scared of committing completely in a marriage just in case it goes wrong, or just in case he's abandoned. So there could be some fear there related to his relationship with his mother. So poor Hollywood.
And I think as well, just to carry on from that, because he said he's trying to make his own image of what a relationship is, because he's like, I didn't see any relationships that I can look up to and be role models of, so I'm trying to make it for myself. And I'm just like, I can see why he was afraid to commit, because I'm like, if you've never seen anyone do it successfully, like, why are you then gonna go and jump into that with somebody? Because you're just like, I've never seen this work. But maybe want to ask you guys, like, do you think your relationship can work if you've never seen healthy relationships around you?
Yeah, I think so. But you have to be a person whereby you know what you want and you're willing to make efforts to make it happen. But if you're just going through life repeating cycles or traumas, then you can absolutely be a victim, because you're just carrying what they say, the operating models of the people you've seen around you. But if the person's conscious, then they can absolutely have a chance of having a great relationship. Because examples of Tamika, she's seen an absolutely fabulous thing with her parents, but she's struggling to replicate it herself. So just because you've seen a good example doesn't mean you're going to have it yourself. You just have to be conscious and making the steps to make it happen.
Absolutely, 100% agree. I think, I think we all need to. I think everybody needs to be able to kind of look at themselves and analyze themselves. Well, self-critique and self-review, because we're all carrying some type of baggage. Most of us, anyway. So if you look at like attachment styles, you see that 3/4 of the attachment styles ain't good. There's only one that's good, is secure, and it's not everybody that's secure. So a lot of us are dealing with our own insecurities, things that we've gone through in our childhood, and actually that requires you, as Raquel said as well, you have to kind of overwrite the operating system. So you have to inject yourself with knowledge and to be able to overwrite what you've previously seen, because even having two parents, right, and they may be communicating a certain way, and we do this all the time. Someone thinks that's normal behavior, and you're looking at them like, bro, that is not normal. That is off the scale chart, like dysfunctional, toxic, whatever you want to call it. But the person will see it as normal because they've operated in it for so long. It's become their normality. So most of us will have to come to a place where we have to acquire knowledge to be able to do life with the person sitting in front of you, because more than likely you have your way of doing things, I have my way of doing things, and there are parts in the middle where we have to come together and say, actually, do you know what? Maybe this part of me, it needs to go, and maybe this part of me needs to go. So that requires you to be gracious, and open to a process of communication. So yes, I would say most of us, even if you haven't seen it, or if you have seen it, it doesn't prevent you from being in a bad relationship, and it doesn't mean you're going to be in a good relationship starting off on a good block either. You need to be able to be open to the process.
I agree with both of you guys, because I think it just takes work either way. Like, my parents got divorced when I was separated before I went through puberty. And seeing my husband, whose parents were together, there's definitely a difference in us. Like, I can clearly trace to him having a stable household with two parents who were together and actively showed love to each other, to my having parents who were divorced and found it very difficult to be in a room with each other after the divorce. Like, I definitely see how that has impacted me, and things that I have to unlearn in marriage, like ways that he will treat me just instinctively that is just not there for me, because I didn't see that, so I'm not gonna. What would be my incentive to do that or to give that? And I have to now look at him and be like, oh, okay, so we're always going to be nice to each other, even when we're upset. And like, we're always going to keep the lines of communication open, and we're not going to cut each other off, or like, these are things that I'm like, if people don't chat to each other for a bit, I'm like, that's okay. I cannot talk to you for a couple of hours. But he's just like, it doesn't run like that. So I think there's definitely unlearning, and I think that's always the thing that has scared me with having children, is whether you're together or not, whether the parents stay together or they don't, we can't help but pass things on. Like, I spoke to a friend and he said to me, and I said to him, I'm afraid to have children because I'm like, I don't want to mess them up. I don't want to mess them up. I don't want to have them to deal with things. And he was just like, Sophie, I had good parents, and he went, I'm so grateful for everything they done, and I still ended up in counseling, and I talked about my mum. Like, he's like, we're not perfect. That's the point. We're not perfect, and everybody is doing the best that they can. And my mum did a better job with me than I'm sure than my mum did with her. And my dad did a better job. And you can still be appreciative for everything they've done, and been like, there were still some things that I felt like I probably missed and needed. And now I have to find a way to give it, even though I've never been given that.
That's potent. That's potent. I mean, how do you? I guess obviously even aside the show, we'll go back to the show in a second. But how do you like work through those kind of things? And like you said, there's some things you might never have done because you never saw that. Like, I know me, because of how I grew up, I can be a little bit shut off emotionally. So as much as I can talk about feelings, everything like that, when it comes to me being in a one-to-one in a relationship, I listen, if you move mad, you just see me go, and that's it. You're not going to catch me. You know what I mean? I just go shut down like Windows. And you're trying to unlearn it. But how did you go about, like, unlearning those processes? You know what I'm saying? Unlearning those kind of behaviors. How did you go about it? If I can ask that both to you, how do you unlearn those behaviors?
I think number one for me was willingness. Like, it doesn't matter how much the other person wants you to be different, or how much they see, or how much and I don't mean tell you, but however much they might show you, like, this isn't helpful to the relationship. It doesn't matter until, for me, you love them enough to want to not hurt them in certain ways. Like, for you to see, like, the way that your words have an effect, or your behavior has an effect, and you're like, I'm hurting somebody that I love. And then you have to have a willingness, and then you have to be patient with yourself, because you are not going to get it right. And it's going to take a long process. And I remember talking to my mum about something, and I said something that my husband just kept on doing. And I was like, Mum, I don't know how we get past this, because it's a behavior. My mum was just like, this was in year 1 of marriage. She was like, he spent 30 plus years becoming that person, and you think that 1 year of marriage to you is going to change habits that he's been building for 30 years. She went, some things you need to stick a pin in and keep on moving. She went, it's not a deal breaker. I went, no. She was like, stick a pin in it and come back to it, because she was like, you've got your whole married lives to work through this, but some things you cannot work because. And I had to see that with myself. So if my husband gets frustrated, I'm like, babe, I've spent 30 something years becoming this person. Like, I'm not flipping on him. I'm flipping on him, because I'm just like, so I say to him, when you get, and I'm just like, I want you to know that I am trying though. I am trying, but you're asking me to change behaviors that I have had for a long time, and that I lived by myself, as an adult for a few years before I got married, before that my sister, your family puts up with you in ways that no one else does. So my family can put up with me like, no, I'm not going to chat to you for a couple of days because you're annoying me on the phone. My sister's like, yeah, fine, whatever. But my husband's not. So I've got to be like, oh, that's not actually okay? Oh, okay. So I need to now learn a new way. But my number one instinct is to act in the exact same way. Oh, you've hurt me? Bam, bam, bam. This is how I act. It's like, no, that's not how you act, because it doesn't help the relationship.
Mika, do you want to add to that?
You covered a lot. You covered a lot.
Sorry.
Fine. Not a lot. We're taking notes, girl, but you definitely have to be willing. I feel like if a person's not willing, you're not going to get anywhere. So a person has to be willing to make the changes. Otherwise, it's just like talking to a brick wall.
And I think that is probably one of the most frustrating things. I think that is where even the arguments that I think happen the most between people, because it's like, if I can see you willing and you're trying, you know, you can make kind of room for that. Like, okay, I can see that you're trying. It's when we think, I'm going to say when we think too, because sometimes it's a perception. When we think you are not trying to change or you're not trying to do anything about it, and you just, this is me, then frustration just kicks in. You're like, whoa, this is me. Well, this is me too. Let me show you me. This is me too as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where you do get friction in relationship. You struggle to kind of, you know, I don't want to say a power struggle, but you are trying to, you know, you want to be seen and heard. And sometimes a behavior that's been brought to you can make you feel like you're not being seen and you're not being heard, especially if you said, the last time I told you, and I told you very politely, this I don't like, and you're on your fourth time now. I don't say it for a fifth time, okay? So please, can we stop this? And they do it for a fifth time, and it's like, are you not here? You know what I mean? So then the person can feel like they're not being seen and not being heard, and oftentimes a lot of you know, arguments come from that. You know, so yeah, you're absolutely right. I think willingness is quintessential. And even speaking about that, going on to our, I guess, our next couple, we'll talk about Tamika and Vince. So she mentioned something which is really interesting for me, because I think relationships take trust, right? And we seem to be on the same point, which is that you know, she's struggling to trust again. She's struggling to trust. And then there was a little bit of an argument at the very end of the show, where because they had previously argued, and I thought this was such a potent kind of example of what happens in relationships, of what I call assumptions. So you assume, I assume, and then we all look like an ass together. So it's like, so she said the example was that she looked at his phone. Why she was looking at him, I don't know why. Looking at his phone, saw something.
You know why.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to play. You know what I mean? She was looking at the phone. She saw something that she obviously was intrigued by. Asked him the question. He is already assuming that the reason why she's asking the question is because, you know, she doesn't trust him fully 100%. So he's reacted in a certain way, and then argument has ensued. But I mean, what was your kind of thoughts on the Tamika and Vince situation?
I don't think the issue was her question. For him, as a guy, anybody, someone's gone through your phone. What for? Straight away, his back is going to be up. His back's going to be up. Why would you not think she's interrogating you in that respect if she's going through your phone? And we know why she was asking. Like, come on. It wasn't completely innocent. However, because of what happened last week with the therapist, she said, well, you need to give her the space to answer these questions. I feel like he should have handled it differently.
What you say?
The thing is, I really want to give Tamika the benefit of the doubt, but I just, in my spirit, I can't. I agree with Vince. I think she was asking because she thinks he was up to something. I feel like Vince is just like, I didn't answer because I know where this is going. I'm like, I believe it, Vince. I believe it. I do believe it, but like, I feel like she's never gonna get from him. Like she's never gonna trust him again. Well, trust him enough. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't think she can get what she wants from Vince. I don't think
he hasn't come clean, has he? Still, we're in episode 6 now, and he hasn't come clean yet. So
look, because she's just, after Dr. Patricia spoke to her, she was just like, look, you're gonna have to just believe it. And she said, I'm afraid that if I trust him, he's just gonna do it again. And I'm just like, so then you've got to make a decision then, because I couldn't, like, they're not even married and I got to deal with this interrogation. Like, I have to, like, me and my husband have no problems picking up each other's phone. Like, if I want to get a number from there that he has or whatever, or if he's on my phone, usually he's looking at Instagram, because like, I'm not going to go on Instagram, like, you look at my Instagram. So I don't understand that makes a difference. But like, I don't have those trust issues. Do you know what I mean? But I couldn't imagine being like, oh, just turn my phone down, and like, I don't want, like, I can't live it's stress. Like, some guy who was a friend's gonna message me saying, hey Sophie, you're free to chat, and you're gonna get, I'm like, I can't deal with that. So I can understand why he's just pissed off, basically. And he's like, I'm just not gonna answer no questions. So she needs to make a decision. She needs to make the decision here.
But then does he want to heal things then? Or are they just going through the motions? Because
how can he, like, what more can Vince do?
Tell the truth.
To
Tell the
Tell the
truth. Ask the questions.
Come
Yeah.
clean. You know what I'm saying? Jesus said it himself. The truth, what sets you free?
Set you free. Do you know what the problem is? Vince is, and do you know, I don't know if I can say we've all been there. Maybe as children, hopefully. But when you're so deep in the lie, you got the cake around your mouth, and your mum's like, "Did you eat the cake?" No. You sure you didn't? Yeah, I was out, and then you go deeper and deeper, and that. I think he's gone so deep in it. He now can't admit that what he did because it's gonna go back to square one. And she's like, "Well, I just can't trust you." I'm just like, we all know he did it. So I think he's just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth me saying it because I have to walk on eggshells already. I can't even tell my girlfriend how my day was like. Like, so.
She's like, what, with your colleague, yeah? Female colleague, huh? What, in the copy room? In the photocopy room, what you doing there?
Show me a picture. Not nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best. It's not the best environment to be in when you are consistently going to be interrogated all the time when the person doesn't trust you. I guess obviously, like when you normally see these situations, right? You know, if he had come clean, yeah, and had deposited all the truth into her bank account and let her know that, listen, I did what I did, I'm sorry, and let it go. Yeah, then I'll be like, do you know what, Tamika, come on, let's put the work in now and let's start to repair what's going on. But because he hasn't come clean, this issue is something that could be listen. And if you do, and like you said, I think it's when you're just knee deep in that lie, yeah. And it's like, if I come out of this, like, do you know what I mean? There's a lot to undo. Like, I've put lies upon lies upon lies. So I'm gonna drag some things if I have to tell the truth now. Do you know what I mean? And because he hasn't told the truth, or either he hasn't told the truth, or she is that because you've made up a whole story. You've made up a whole story that the girl contacted you, said this, that. She had screenshots of time and place. She had itinerary. She said that you were at the house as well. So either you are lying, or she has made up a whole fantasy in her head, twice, not once, on two different occasions. At that point, you have to start being concerned. No, for real, no, deep it. If I'm Vince, if I'm looking from outside, I have to think to myself, Vince, would you not be concerned that your girlfriend's made up two scenarios of you basically going with another female to the point where she said that you house?
Like, I feel like we all know he did it. I don't have a doubt, doubt in my mind, because Kojo, you're a man. Your girlfriend has accused you of cheating.
Come on,
you know you haven't done it. And then you're going to put up with 2.5 years of distrust, going through your phone,
same argument,
arguing it, and you're just going to be like, I'm like, this must be some special sort of woman. Because eventually you're going to be like, do you know what? I didn't cheat. I'm just going to leave this because this isn't worth it. The fact that he's willing to stay in it and take it lets me know he did it, and he still has some residual guilt there around what he's done, because he's willing to put up with this. Because I'm like, I didn't cheat. I am not going to take your foolishness. Like, put my phone down.
Ooh, yeah, I hear you. I definitely hear you, and yeah, I agree that. I mean, you wouldn't want to be putting up for the 2.5 years of consistent, just like the same, and it's the same argument as well, which is that you did this from the beginning of the relationship, and it's the same argument. How many times are you going to hear that without saying, "Listen, let me leave this alone. This is not for me." You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely hear that. I mean, if Tamika was here, what advice would you give Tamika? She's not here, by the way, but I just want to say that. I don't know. Maybe she's here. But I don't know. I haven't seen her. But if she was here, what advice would you want to give Tamika from your heart? What would you want to give her?
I would say to her, Tamika, you feel like Vince has the power. Like, you feel like you're waiting on his decision to decide to ask you to marry him. But you actually have the power to decide what it is that you want. If you make up your mind and act accordingly, Vince will marry you or he will leave you, but you need to be happy with whichever outcome, because what you're doing now is going to make for the worst marriage. So do you want to accept what he's done, even though he's not going to admit to it, and then just decide to trust him anyway? And the 2.5 years of work that he's putting in trying to convince you, because I'm not going to go on like that's a small thing. But if you feel like you're never going to trust him, set him free and set yourself free.
Preach.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, girl, pack your bags and free yourself, because we're just so heavily labored by this trust issue that you overcome. So long as he's not going to fess up, you're going in circles over and over again. You want to ask questions, he doesn't want to answer. You can't even communicate. You can't even ask about how his day went. Can you even say, how are you? Like, it's really not great. So you need to just wake up, see what's going on, see that it's not what your parents have. You're not going to be able to trust him like how you trust your dad, as you said. And take some time away, heal, rebuild, learn to be able to trust and love again, and hopefully you'll find someone new.
Yeah,
I love that.
Because I think I'll just add quickly the thing with Vince as well. When he went on his date, like Vince likes these environments where these women are just open and he can just talk honestly without it being second guessed. He really enjoys that, and he's missing that from his relationship. And with him going on the second date, like he could wake up and just be like, actually.
Did he agree to go on second date? I forgot. I didn't even see that part. Did he agree to go on second date?
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So I think he's like, this could be a lot easier somewhere else.
Is that
it's
true?
It's
You went on a second date, yeah?
It's gonna be next episode.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, you know what? You see, this is what happens. You know, you see what you're wanting is going to be given to you when you free yourself by telling the truth. He's a master of his own downfall. And then he's going to leave the relationship. No, I don't think he's going to leave the relationship, but this is what in real life, what happens is the guy leaves the relationship. It's like, well, if you had been more open, well, if you had told the truth, we would have been somewhere. You know what I mean? So if you're watching this, guys, listen, sometimes you just need to leave, like you said. Sometimes you just need to say, listen, cut my losses. Okay, I know I've put time and energy and money, and some of you girls, I know you lot buy gifts. I mean, you lot spend wages on a brother. You know what I'm saying? You upgrade him like Beyonce. You know what I'm saying, and then he does the stupidity, right? And it's like you've invested so much energy, time, and everything into Bob the Builder project, and now Bob the Builder project doesn't seem to be finished, and he's moving mad. It's okay. Let it go. It's okay. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses. You know, in business, we call it bad debt. This is bad debt. Let it go. Cut it off. You know what I'm saying? You said in the bailiffs, but the guy ain't answering the door. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? And be free. You feel me? So that you can be free. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we have to say for Tamika. If you're not going to trust him, I put a strong word there, please just let the fish go. It's okay.
Sorry.
Go on.
Flick up a switch. It's just not about her just trusting him, because my thing is, how can she? He's not enabling her to even do that. So I get it. A flick of a switch, and he is not facilitating her trusting him.
But why are you going to end it there? Just can you expand on that quickly before we go? Expand on that last bit so we get that point.
She can't just wake up one day and be like, okay, I trust him. I'm not going to ask him questions anymore, because she still has those doubts and insecurities. So until he's working with her to work through them and so that she can heal, they're going to continue to linger. I don't believe trust is a flick of a switch at all. They have to put the work in, and he is not willing to put the work in because he just shuts down. And we sympathize with him in that we say, okay, it's tiring being asked those questions. So they're just, was it between a rock and a hard place? That's it. Yeah.
The thing I would say to that though is like, trust doesn't happen overnight. That's true. But after trust has been broken, and I'm not just talking about infidelity, because I know in relationships we always focus on infidelity, but there's other broken trust that you can have as well.
What's that? I don't know those other trusts that will get broken. What's those ones? Please.
Do you know what?
Fill us in with one, because sometimes I'll be hearing people saying he broke the trust, and it's like it wasn't infidelity. I was like, so what was it? I want to.
You know what? I think what I've learned in marriage, just I'd probably say in being let down.
Oh, okay.
And not even that he's done it purposefully, like something that he might have done, or something that I might have done that has just hurt him so much, and he says, now I feel like I can't trust you with that emotion, or I can't trust you to put to put me first, even if you're not feeling okay. Like, I can't trust you. And those things cut like a knife. It's like when your parents tell you they're not angry, I'm disappointed, and then you want to cry your eyes out.
Listen,
like you
that
want
one.
to cry, and they're like, I love you, but I'm disappointed, and I never thought you could do something like that. And that way, and then that's why I mean the trust. Like, that's why I'm saying trust. Yes, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's also a choice. It's also like, so my trust has been broken with Vince. As Tamika, my trust has been broken, and it's not going to be repaired overnight. But I have to make a choice that when his phone goes off, I'm not going to accuse him. Or when he tells me about a female, I'm going to choose to believe him. And that's how the trust gets rebuilt. It doesn't get rebuilt by just time. Someone has to make a decision that I'm going to choose to trust you. I'm going to have to make a choice and go against all these feelings of hurt and rejection and pain, and decide that I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's a choice that you have to make. But these choice decisions are hard. Forgiveness is hard. Choosing to be like, well, you did it last time, so why aren't you going to be like, oh no, clean slate, I'm gonna trust. It's tough.
No more last words? Anyone else with last words? No? Rico?
Oh, the breakdown was very interesting. It's got me thinking. I do think it's a choice that you give someone, you decide to give someone the benefit of the doubt, but I don't feel like people reach that until they get the point of the honesty. So if Vince goes on to reveal or lay it on the table, then she's got the power to be like, okay, well, we're going to do this. But until he's freed that up, she's just going to be like a slave to her thoughts, I think. But
do you know what? It's like, I wonder what trying to cut, but it's like I agree and I disagree with that, because I think in any relationship, like, sometimes have you ever been in a relationship with somebody and you know that they've done something and they just won't admit to it? And it doesn't have to be like they stole something or did something, but maybe the way that they said something, I'm like, I know this is what you meant by that comment. And they're like, no, it's not. And you're like, I know you too well. Like, I know. And they don't admit it. And you have to get to a point in your head, you're like, do you know what? They're not at the place where they can do that or admit that yet. And I'm just going to have to let it go.
Okay.
And then for the health of the relationship or for maturity, be like, if they're not at that place yet, then okay. Like, I'm just going to have to move past it, and maybe we'll have to come back to it at a later day. Like, I think those are the things that I've had to learn in marriage. Like, sometimes people aren't willing to be honest with themselves. And it's not that they're lying. They don't think that they're lying, but sometimes it's very difficult to hold a mirror up to ourselves and see who we are. Being in a relationship shows you that, and it's very difficult. And sometimes you have to be like, maybe I'm not going to get the apology that I deserve. Maybe I'm not going to get this day, and I'm just going to have to move past it, because somebody has to be mature enough to say, we can't stop here. We have to keep going forwards. So I think in an ideal world, every time I upset my husband, I'm gonna do the perfect thing. But sometimes, honestly, he has been gracious to me and been like, you're not there yet. So I'm gonna give you patience and we'll talk about them, but you're not ready for that level of what it's gonna need to make this, for us to get past this. So I have to give you grace. And I think that's what I see when we see like the relationship that God has with us, and when he tries to liken church to a marriage. Like, sometimes I'm going to give you what you don't deserve. And yeah, I know what you're doing, but I'm going to still keep loving you anyway, because that's what one person does when they have the ability and the maturity to do so.
Mika, do you want to respond to that?
No, I've got nothing more.
No, I thought you perked up, so I was like, oh, okay. You know,
that's what I mean when I say marriage is hard, isn't it? Like, that's what I mean when marriage is hard. It's them things there that will just knock you on your backside.
So do you think, okay, let's say you're married and you had the Vince and Tamika situation, could one just accept that and move forward?
No, not in marriage. Like, for infidelity, like, for me, the only way we're going to move forward is if you're honest with it. I think the thing where I think with Tamika, is it confused? I'm going to come back. Let me go back.
I'm thinking the other way, whereas where you're committed and tied in, you might be more willing to give someone a blight, but when you're dating, they got to have a blight, and you're going to start on that basis.
I guess for me, like, I'm not going to say if my husband cheated on me, that my marriage is over. I straight away, I've said this before. I think I said it before, like, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't. Like, one time, like, if he cheated or had an affair, because I'm just like, I said through whatever. If he done it again, I'd be like, you just don't respect me. So I understand that now. I need to leave. But I think I can't move past the infidelity if you're going to say it didn't happen. For Vince and Tamika, it happened at the beginning of the relationship, and she set a precedent for what she was going to be willing to accept.
Okay.
That's for me what is different. Like, it was at the beginning. Like, if my husband had done to me at the beginning, I'd have been like, yo, I'm out. Like, why? This is not going to get any better. This is how it started. Now, if I've built up this trust with my husband and we're together and that has not been his behavior, but our relationship has broken down somewhere, it has happened, I'm like, that's not his character. We need to work through this, go to counseling. Maybe I need to move out of the marital home for a bit, and we need to kind of come back and try and re-salvage what was there. But I think, for Vince, like, whatever you set up in the beginning is gonna be how things roll.
I like that you said that. Obviously, she set a precedence in the beginning, because obviously I think it was, hey Rick, yeah, I saw you just freeze. I was like, yeah, I think you're right. I think she did. What you said there is correct, and I think for anybody watching, that's what we're talking about, which is that beginning precedent. She should. Me personally, if you didn't tell the truth in the beginning, you shouldn't have progressed any further along. Either should have said, "Come clean," or "Let's stop here." But the moment you went ahead of it, you've actually co-signed the behavior and said, I'm willing to allow this to go on and continue. And if that was the case, then she has to go and say, let me just surrender and just let this one go. I wouldn't advise that, because the person's been dishonest in a certain way. But if you've taken that road, you got to walk with everything on that road, or don't travel down that road at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, I'll say, any final words? No? Well, guys, it's been a powerful session. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, audience. We appreciate you guys' participation. There was a lot of comments, and they were all joining in and having their 2 pence as well.
I can't wait to read what people have been saying.
It is juicy up in there, baby. So yeah, ladies, thank you so much for joining me again for episode 6. Hopefully episode 7 is going to produce some more tasty stuff. It looks like Whitney's going to talk to Michael and tell her, listen, either you want it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, either you hear or not. Yes, pressure with a G, not even a P, with a G. G4. So, we look forward to be able to review that next week on the live as well. So, again, ladies, do you want to let them know where they can find you as well and stuff?
So my name is Sophie Hannah. I've got some very strong opinions, which I'm sharing all over the internet. So I'm on a show called Ethnically Speaking, which talks about current affairs and pop culture. It comes out every single week, so make sure you go over and watch that. But I'm also creating my own content at I Am Sophie Hannah. So tap into YouTube. Please subscribe. 10 more subscribers to hit 200. Trying to hit that goal by the end of the year. So close. And also trying to get my Instagram followers as well, so you can see my content on there as well. So please go on over to Instagram. I Am Sophie Hannah. Make sure you do it now. Thank you so much for just watching and all your support.
Yes, thank you. I honestly cannot wait to watch the comments. I watched them last time. They made me laugh so much. But I'm on YouTube as well. I do predominantly natural hair videos. I also do some vlogging and lifestyle content. So please search and subscribe. It's Rax Real. Also Rax Real on Instagram. And I do a parenting podcast called Mama Drama Pod, which is also on YouTube. Check it out.
Love that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us once again, and we will see you next week. For those of you who are audience members, we are on live again on Saturday. We're interviewing Adriana from Ready to Love, and then on Tuesday we'll be interviewing Rashid from Ready to Love as well, and then on next week Wednesday we're interviewing Vince. So guys, there's a lot that's coming for you guys. Okay, I know it's like always after our ones, late night one now, you know what I'm saying? American time. But guys, appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.